So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Second one of today and last video before the NFL draft officially kicks off. We today are going to go over some of the draft predictions that I have for the Detroit Lions. Now, we have talked extensively about prospects. We have done multiple mock drafts going over multiple different scenarios, and today we're going to put all of that together, put together all the research we've done over the last month or so, and we are going to put together not necessarily a mock draft, but some of the predictions that we might hope to see out of the Detroit Lions as the second pick approaches, as the 32nd pick approaches, as day 2 and 3 progress, what we might be looking to see out of the Detroit Lions with each and every individual draft pick. So with that being said, let's get straight on in to the last minute and last bit of draft news for this year, being the 2022 NFL Draft predictions. Now, I am not going to talk about the number 2 overall pick in this class. We've talked about this pick enough. All it's going to do is spark controversy in the comments, so we're going to skip that selection. But what we are going to do is talk about the second first-round pick. And with that being said, I believe the Detroit Lions will end up trading the 32nd overall pick to a team in order to move back, acquire some draft capital, maybe a 4th round pick, maybe a 2nd and a 3rd round pick in there as well. And I believe they will use the 32nd overall pick to get at least 2 more top 100 picks and a 4th round pick somewhere in the middle of the 4th round. And I think they will move back very happily to pick 34 while picking up multiple top-end picks with that 32nd selection. Although Lions fans might tell you that the 32nd overall selection is just a glorified 2nd round pick, the 32nd overall selection has a ton of value for NFL teams. It is the last selection, it is the cheapest selection with a 5th-year contract by a team in the NFL. So if you want a 5th-year option on the cheapest possible contract for a football player, the 32nd overall pick is the best value pick in order to do that. And yes, you need 32 picks to go first. You need 31 selections to be made before your pick is on the board. But if there is a guy there, if there is a player there that a team has fallen in love with, that they do not believe will be there with their 2nd round pick, I truly think they could look to package some picks, move up to pick 32, get that player, get a 5th-year option with that player, and they would be willing to give up quite a bit of capital in order to get their guy with an extra year of rookie contract negotiation. Now, with that being said, I think the 2 biggest candidates to trade up are either the Seahawks, who might be looking for a late day 1 quarterback, right? Looking for maybe a Desmond Ridder at the tail end of the 1st round. If they don't address quarterback with the 1st overall pick in their class, or if they don't address quarterback with pick number 9, then I think they might be looking to move back up for a quarterback on a 5th-year option, right? Give him a little time to develop and give him that extra year on a rookie deal. Or I think the Denver Broncos could also look to move up if David Ojabo is available, if they really want Boye Mafa and they don't think he's going to be there. If Arnold Ebiketie is a great selection and they don't want to risk him not being there, I think either the Denver Broncos or the Seattle Seahawks are prime candidates to move up to pick 32. Give up a couple picks, right? Not a ton, but give up like maybe a 2nd, a 3rd, and a mid 4th round pick, if not an early 5th round pick, and move up pretty comfortably. Get the guy that they want, get the guy for their future, and continue to move in the direction that they want to move, right? The Broncos going all in, getting another top end edge rusher in this class without really having a whole lot of needs left on the roster, or the Seattle Seahawks, being in that full rebuild mode, getting their quarterback of the future in Desmond Ridder or Matt Corral, or a dark horse, someone like maybe Kenny Pickett if he falls to the 32nd overall selection. Now, the second thing I think will happen in this draft is I believe, regardless of what the first 4 picks are, I think the first 4 picks at the very least will be used on on the defensive side of the football. I think it will have any combination of safety, linebacker, edge, and defensive tackle. Now the Lions defense, although it actually had a lot of good games a season ago, I had multiple games holding teams under 20 points, and if the offense was just a little bit more potent, if the offense was just a little bit more explosive, they could have won a lot of different games. They could have won a ton of games last season if the offense could put up some points. The defense did rank statistically very low in a lot of different categories, and I think they do have some holes at safety. I think they do have some holes at linebacker, and I think they have some holes at the defensive tackle depth positions, and I think all of which could be addressed with some of the top picks in this year's class. I think Brad Holmes will go defense early and often, just like he did last year, right? Offensive tackle was the first pick, but then it was defensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, and linebacker. 4 of the 5 picks in the middle of that draft class were defensive players, including defensive linemen, secondary help, and a linebacker. I think Brad Holmes is going to continue that mantra, maybe take an offensive player early, but I think Brad Holmes is going to continue that mantra. I think he's going to continue that mindset of continuing to build the defense, continuing to give Aaron Glenn all the talent that he can, and late in the NFL draft, right in the 4th round on day 3, then he's going to get some role players. Then he's going to get some skill positions. He's going to give Jared Goff a weapon. He's going to give, he's going to give the offensive line another running back. He's going to give the running back room another guy for touches, another guy for production. He's going to give the tight end room a little bit more depth and give Jared Goff another target in the tight end room. He's going to draft an offensive lineman to be a pulling tackle that's going to be that 6th offensive lineman and open up the run game. On day 3, that's where you get your skill guys. That's where you get your role players on the offensive side of the ball. But early and often in this year's NFL class, I think the Detroit Lions are going to hit defense over and over and over again until Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and Aaron Glenn feel 100% confident that this talent and the talent on the defensive side of the ball is what they want and what they're comfortable with going into 2022. Now, with that being said, I think one of the linebackers that very well could be on the radar of Brad Holmes is Nefe Sewell, the linebacker from Utah. Now, Nefe Sewell, I understand he's the brother of Penei Sewell, and I love that storyline, but that's not why I'm saying that I think Nefe Sewell will be a Detroit Lion. I think the brother thing is a great story. I think that might even play a little bit of an impact, kind of in the same way that like Julian and Romeo Okwara did, but at the end of the day, Nefe Sewell brings something to the Detroit Lions that they don't really have currently, and that is a top-end coverage linebacker. Nefe Sewell was phenomenal in coverage with the Utes a season ago and throughout his entire collegiate career. I think he fills a role. I think he fills a need. And actually, I've even seen some people say he could probably play the safety position and be okay at that if he drops a little bit of weight. He is a very good coverage linebacker. He's not the most physical guy. He's not the best tackler. He's not going to force a lot of fumbles for you, but he's going to cover better than any linebacker on the roster right now. I think he's arguably one of the top coverage linebackers in this draft while being just a little bit bigger than Nakobe Dean and being obviously significantly less talked about and significantly more slept on than Nakobe Dean. If you want a linebacker for just 3rd down situations, for just coverage situations, whether it be zone, whether it be matching up versus a shifty running back, whether it be matching up versus a quick tight end, Nefe Sewell can do all of it. He is incredibly fluid in his hips, incredibly fluid when changing directions, and is a great coverage linebacker with Utah a season ago. And again, that is something the Detroit Lions don't have. They have a run stopper in Alex Anzalone. They have a captain in Alex Anzalone. They have a blitzer in Jared Davis. They have a tackler in Derek Barnes. They have a special teamer in Chris Board and Anthony Pittman. They don't have that coverage guy that they need at the linebacker position. And that's why I think Nefe Sewell, while being the brother of Penei, will join the Detroit Lions. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, I believe the one player that I would bookmark as a Detroit Lion this season, I've talked about him in a couple of videos, is David Bell, the wide receiver from Purdue. David Bell is unexplainably falling all the way down draft boards. PFF has him graded as the 123rd overall prospect in this year's class. He very well might fall to day 3, and the way that a lot of people are talking about him, I wouldn't even be shocked if he falls to day 3 of the NFL class. But David Bell, a player that averaged 100 yards a game throughout his 29 collegiate football games at Purdue, with subpar quarterback play, playing against some really good defensive backs in the Big Ten, and playing against arguably the best competition week in and week out in college football. David Bell is one of the best receivers in this class. He was one of the best receivers in college football a season ago. And just because he does not run in the 4.2s, just because he does not have a 10.0 RAS score, does not mean he will not be one of the best players in this class. And I see him as this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Somebody that I have a mid-second round grade on, somebody that I would feel comfortable taking as early as, 66, as early as the mid-50s, but a guy that just, because he didn't test great, because he's not in the spotlight all that much, is seeming to fall down draft boards and seeming to be the forgotten wide receiver in this year's class, very much like Amon-Ra was the forgotten wide receiver from a season ago. I think David Bell is the same situation. I think as far as early in the 4th round, if they do acquire that 4th round pick, Brad Holmes is going to look at this the exact same way as last year. We need wide receiver help. We need some help at the wide receiver position. This guy should not be available in the 4th round. We're going to give Jared Goff a weapon. We're going to give Jared Goff a guy with solid hands, good route running, just a guy that creates separation and makes his quarterback's life easy. And we're going to give Jared Goff another weapon who can develop for the future and be a top-end guy for a long time. David Bell fits this system very well. David Bell fits what the Detroit Lions are looking for in a wide receiver, a big body guy that creates separation and has strong hands. That's what David Bell is going to bring, and that's why I think David Bell will be a Detroit Lion either late day 2 or very, very early on day 3. Now, the last prediction I have for this class is that the Detroit Lions will address the quarterback position. I do not think Brad Holmes is 100% sold on Tim Boyle. I don't think he's sold on David Blau. Both of them did not play very well a season ago. David Blau played okay in the preseason. Tim Boyle played atrocious in both the pre and the regular season. I don't think Brad Holmes saw that and thought, that's my franchise quarterback, that's my future guy. I think that he's going to draft a quarterback in this class, and I think he's going to draft a quarterback on day 3, whether it be Caleb Ellaby in the 5th, whether it be, Cole Kelly in the 7th, whether it be Brock Purdy in undrafted free agency. There are some talented quarterbacks to go late in this class, if they're going to go at all. But I think whether you're talking about Caleb Ellaby, whether you're talking about Cole Kelly, whether you're talking about, Brock Purdy from Iowa State, I truly believe all of those guys would push David Blau. I think all of those guys would push Tim Boyle for the backup quarterback position. You could legitimately upgrade a position with a 7th round with a late or even undrafted player, just adding talent, adding competition, which is what they continue to preach as the Detroit Lions coaching staff, right? You would add competition, you would add future viability, you would add a much better quarterback for your backup role. And if it ever comes to it, I trust Brock Purdy far more than I trust Tim Boyle. I trust Cole Kelly a lot more than I trust David Blau. I even trust Caleb Ellaby a lot more than I trust either of those two players on the roster currently. And while neither one of those guys, none of the 3 are going to push Jared Goff for a starting role, they're certainly going to push Tim Boyle for the backup position. So with all of that being said, that is all for you guys today. Those are my predictions for the 2021 NFL Draft. Let me know what you guys think about the predictions. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. How do you feel like this draft is going to play out? What positions do you think are going to be prioritized? What players do you have a draft crush on and you think are very likely to go to the Detroit Lions at some point in this class? Be very curious what you guys think. But with all of that being said, that is all for you guys today. That's draft season. I'll see you guys later for the mock. I will see you guys later for the actual 2022 NFL Draft at 8 p.m. live right here on this channel. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, until later I should say, and until next time, go Lions.